Raphaël, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Sue.
So I guess this is kind of insider baseball-y, Quebec City-y, but it seems to be actually, I like to look at it because it's the two the two people who are fighting for François Legault's position, Bernard Drainville and Fréchette, and it's getting dirty.
It's getting dirty indeed, and you mentioned it. To me, it's a very local issue. You know, the third link between Quebec City and Lévis. But for the past 2 days, it's becoming it seems to them actually that it's becoming a national issue because they're focusing their attacks towards each other on this specific issue, which is very local, very regional, very specific to the greater Quebec City region. But it's monopolizing really the entire debate on the succession of François Legault, and to me, it shouldn't be the case. It's not something that should be the priority at the moment, because of all the problems that this province is facing at the moment, whether economic, whether social issues, those candidates should be talking about things that pertain the most to everyday Quebecers across the province, not just a project of a tunnel between Quebec City and Lévis. So to me, to see somebody like Bernard Drainville, who's a staunch supporter of that project, and of course, as we know, he's an MNA from Lévis, so of course he defends also his own interest as an MNA, and to attack someone like Fréchette, who is, he calls her hesitant, but to me, it's just someone who is being responsible at the same time, because we have absolutely no studies, of all the studies that have been conducted by the Ministry of Transport in Quebec City, none of them has been able to prove that this is that this should be a priority, that this is really something that the region needs to improve traffic flow between Quebec City and Lévis. So, I mean, from Fréchette, to see someone who is thinking about the solutions, who is rethinking the Third Link project, and maybe questioning also, is it really needed? Is it really pertinent or not? I think it's just being responsible. Especially, we're talking here about a project that would cost over $10 billion if ever it was realized, if it were to be materialized. So to me, it's just being responsible to question whether this project is useful or not for the province as a whole.
I mean, I think that's not really the point. The point is that I keep picturing the electoral map in my head and all those nice fat CAQ votes all around Quebec City.
That's all around Quebec City, but at the moment, if you look at the latest projections, those seats are currently going to Éric Duhaim's Quebec Conservative. So
surprising.
I mean, is it already a done deal for the CAQ? Are they already dead in the greater Quebec City region? And shouldn't they be focusing their efforts on other regions where they still stand a chance at maybe saving some seats at the same time?
All right. Well, speaking of other efforts, I want to talk to you about the PTSQ. So this is the new Skilled Worker Selection Program. And there's been a lot of worry about the end of the program as it is. But it seems that Jean-François Robert says that this program is going to be expanded to include healthcare workers. What do we know about that?
So, yes, it's a sight of relief, I would say, for 6,300 healthcare workers who were at risk of losing their work permit by the end of the year this year. And of course, as we know, the public healthcare system is facing a major shortage of in terms of workforce. So we couldn't afford, of course, to lose all those workers that we need in our system. We're talking about PABs. We're talking about people who are working in hospitals and in healthcare facilities for elderly people. So we could not afford, just because of the abolition of the PEQ, the Programme de l'Expérience Québécoise, to lose those people in the healthcare system. But to me, it speaks volumes also about the impact of the abolition of the PEQ in all sectors of our society. If we were about to lose 6,300 workers in the healthcare system, how much do we lose in other sectors of our society, in the private sector, for instance? And the government is not listening to the demands of the economic sector. Most businesses, the chambers of commerce are asking the government to backtrack on this, to bring back the PEQ, because they need workers in our businesses across the province. But to see that Roberge is making some changes, some exceptions for the healthcare system, I hope that he will hear the demands also of the economic sector and make some arrangements to help and support our businesses as well.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, we've talked a lot today about the way the CAQ seems to be kind of floundering and going from one thing to another and changing their mind. And Minister Roberge is one of the ministers that's backed down on a number of things, including a particular aspect of the bill that is expanding secularism with regards to funerals.
With regards to funerals, so finally those, at least, and then again, it's just the reasonable thing to do at this point, because as we know, this bill is banning public prayers, and people, it was not clear whether funeral processions were to be included. Are they considered public prayers? Are they considered religious activities on the streets? And at least the Minister Roberge made it clear today that funeral processions would not be banned because, of course, imagine the situation if you have somebody, the family of a loved one, who cannot have a funeral procession for their loved one that they just lost. It would have been really inhumane, a very inhumane thing to do to these people who are facing, of course, a very difficult period in their families. So I'm glad that Minister Roberge made it clear. But at the same time, it shows then again that this government is sometimes putting forward bills without necessarily thinking about all the impacts that it could have. Yeah. Yes, they are listening. At least they are listening and they are making clarifications. Yeah. But if you had a better bill in the first place, you would not have to backtrack on those things. I'm
laughing because it reminds me of your colleague James Meny, who we had on in the last hour of the show. He was saying it's like Jean-François Roberge has a pocket full of, little notes, and that he's like, oh yeah, oh funerals, yeah.
Post-its.
Exactly.
This bill is going to be full of post-its once it's finally amended. But I mean, Roberge to me is one of the ministers that puts this whole government in situations of embarrassment most of the time. And oftentimes he has to backtrack because his bills are not well prepared, in my point of view.
I remember when he was education minister and the same thing happened. It has been since the beginning of his mandate. I don't know. He's just got that nice face, I guess, that they keep putting him in charge of stuff.
Well, he's one of the faithfuls that have been with François Legault for such a long time. But to me, he's certainly not the most shining star in this government.
Before I let you go, I have to talk about potholes, because I guess you heard about our mayor now, and she had 2 flat tires, and so now she's getting
the irony of having 2 flat tires when you're the mayor of Montreal because of potholes. Yeah.
I know. I have some sympathy. What do you think? What do you think of the plan to award the 10 contracts to 3 private companies?
Yeah, finally, we're seeing maybe a bit of light at the end of the tunnel, but I mean, we're just patching potholes at the moment. The problem is that it goes way beyond just patching potholes. The problem is because we, for so many years, and I would say even decades, administration after administration, yes, Projet Montréal, but also previous administrations, have underfunded the maintenance of our public infrastructure. Yeah. So the problem with potholes is not just about on the surface; it's what happens beneath the surface. It's pipes. It's the aqueduct that's leaking.
It's the type of asphalt that we pave with.
Exactly. So when you go for the cheapest option possible, you get the cheapest product you can get, and that's what in the end we're just paying for it later with those contracts that we have to give to patch those potholes. So yes, we're going to have to patch potholes this spring whenever the weather is a bit more warm. But in the end, we're going to be facing the exact same problem in a year from now because we're just patching. We're not really going to the root of the problem, which lies under the surface, not just at the surface of our street.
Absolutely. No free lunch. Raphaël, thank you.
My pleasure, Sue. See you next time.
Okay, bye-bye.
I'm Dylan Playfair.
And I'm Tyler Smith.
We're putting loneliness in the penalty box by talking to some of our favorite athletes about the importance of friendship.
This is Bromance.
Bromance is brought to you by Charm Diamond Centers, proudly Canadian-owned and operated. Charm has been part of your love stories and bromances for over 50 years.
And you can find Bromance on the iHeartRadio network or wherever you get your podcasts.